Hey, monkey boy. This time I can prove the Israelites weren't black using ChatGPT. Ha!
So that's what we're doing now? Using AI?
What was that? I couldn't hear you over that smoke alarm chirp you people can't hear. Say that again?
Hilarious and original.
Hilarious and original. Hilarious and original. Hilarious and original.
I said, is that what we're doing now? Using AI to prove who the Israelites are?
That's exactly what we're doing, and I'll show you, boy.
Oh, brother.
2 hours later.
Your room still stinks.
Look at how easily ChatGPT debunks everything you chimps have to say. Ha! You was not kings, and you was not Israelites.
If we're going to use AI, then let's at least use an AI that's trained on the Bible without the Masoretic mistranslations or any agendas and actually tells us the truth.
Liar, there's no such thing.
I'll show you. Let's use Israelite Bot. Go to IsraeliteBot.com and ask the same thing.
Fine, but I bet it'll say the same thing as ChatGPT. No! No!
You see? I told you.
No!
And it shows biblical proof.
No! This is preposterous. I hate this website. It's all wrong.
Stop crying.
Your website sucks.
The Rise of Africa, the continent, the diaspora, and BRICS explores the relationships that are affecting the global economy right now. This book explores the relationships of the African diaspora's influence on the African continent and why this is important in stabilizing relationships with an understanding of how BRICS impacts the future, good or bad. You can order your copy of The Rise of Africa today on Amazon.com.
NeoDiplomacy is the new currency. NeoDiplomacy is the new currency. The reason that I can say that is you have a couple of different factors occurring right now as we speak on the world stage. The dollar is being disrupted. Nations are no longer wanting to engage with the United States. But the third factor that affects each and every one of us is that there is a diaspora from the African continent that's willing and able to engage our brothers and sisters on the continent.
Shalom, Salama, Thiemi, Shalom. Greetings to all of my Israelite brothers and sisters from around the world. Whether you're the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the house of Israel, or you're a Gentile grafted in to the house under the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach, I welcome you this morning. Today, this lovely, beautiful morning, we will be discussing the ultimatums. I wanted to label this ultimatums and operatives, but I just said now the ultimatums. Shout out to Teo and Yakoba, and Sister Shonda. The the live yesterday, I missed it. Uh I missed it. And it all started, I'm gonna tell you this. That happened about 3 weeks ago. Um and I remember that. It was June 20th. I just came back on QTUA doing the QTUA discussions live. And I opened up the panel, and Garth and I were confronting our confused brother that Sister Shonda had also spoke about. And this was before the deportation orders and everything else. And, you know, with me, I've always had that quick trigger brain of just gushing of knowledge and understanding. That's just how the Most High created me. So, as I was confronted on QTUA and I explained the situation, you're going to have people that they're not going to listen. They're going to ramble. And I'm going to tell you this, the Most High is giving the ultimatums. And understand you're going to have in the community operatives from folks that say, oh, shalom, salama, siyemi, all that other stuff. Because again, we're dealing with the same thing. I pray that our mind isn't so shortened and the understanding that this is where we have seen them before. They took a break, but now you understand really in this time frame, especially in this administration, you're gonna have more COINTELPRO, more ops, more elevation of statuses via YouTube, because there's going to be contracts that are signed in the background to allow folks to get that algorithmic information. Again, I don't get many quote unquote subscribers or viewers or things of that nature, but understand that we are actually more powerful than what we think. And our power really actually is outside of these YouTube spheres and places or in spaces. So when I heard that, it was cringing, but I also dealt with that, I guess, in round one. And Garth and I did a great job dealing with that. And we understood, okay, he's going to start popping up every so often because honestly, that's the way that COINTELPRO works. And if you're looking for a job, folks will come running. Oh, can you say the same thing? Can you do the same thing? They're looking for the Uncle Ruckuses now. They're looking for the sellouts now. They're looking for that new age or edge. Oh, you can come to them like this. You can do it like that. It's FBAs and ADOS and reparations and everything else. It's your land. I was born here. I will not get deported. Okay. we have folks living the delusion. It's great darkness. See, he wasn't going to talk to you about scripture because when you bring up scripture, that destroys all arguments. When you bring up Jeremiah chapters 30 through 33, when you bring up Jeremiah 50 and 51, when you bring up Joel chapter 3, when you're bringing up Zephaniah chapter 3, Habakkuk chapter 2, all of these scriptures, they cannot debate it. They're locked in. So now they're given an ultimatum. Either you play along with the program, or let me tell you what he was saying. Let me tell you what he was exposing to you without saying it. And Minister Rick did a great job, because let me tell you what he was exposing to you all. If you do not go along with this program, not only are we going to call ICE on them, but then we're going to turn and call ICE on you. Do you see how that goes? And it's sad because what you really understand is those are the tools of white supremacy that you listen when you listen to all the garble, all the verbal garbage. You actually have to look through and piece through and sift through what it is that he's trying to say without him saying it, because that's how white supremacy works. Dark sentences. That's Daniel, chapters 8 and 9. So what we're doing as we're speaking truth and peace to our neighbors, it's the truth that will set you free, because what it is that when you commit to the other side, that is failing. The other side is failing. You have dollars that are failing. You have a global world system, world order that the U.S. was head of for a couple of decades is failing. Then what can you do? You're trying to provide some sort of a sense of normalcy. And in order to quote unquote get that normalcy back, you have to scare black folks into submission. And I'm paraphrasing some of the words here. I don't care if they're Haitian or not. They came on over here and they're taking away jobs. They're taking away opportunities. You know that since 2020, black folks have been the number one ethnicity demographic that has engaged in entrepreneurial work. And yes, thank you, Brother Garth. Let's ignore what? AI and affirmative action. Exactly. What that was the second volley, the second attempt to show you the new digital, not so digital, Jim Crow slash COINTELPRO slash any type of framework or, diatribe or trope, whatever you want to call it. The question is why now? Well, now it's because they can visibly see that they're losing. To win, the Biscuit Boys. See, if you're not speaking word, if you're not speaking truth, then what you're speaking to me is just folly. It's folly. Why are you going to try to save something that is getting ready to be destroyed? Do you not see the news articles that literally Putin is thinking about using nukes as a first strike in less than 24 hours? I told you all, you better be ready and careful. We had that 24 hours ago. I said, we'll see what happens in 24 hours. We see what the decision, we will see the announcement that Trump is making. See, in spiritual decline, you'll start to have physical decline, which will start to show itself as economic and then will hit you financial, all in those areas of decline. Because their rock, their foundation was not built up. Cursed is a nation that establishes itself via blood. Come on now, back in chapter 2. Do you think that you're just going to go around whacking people forever? Do you think that you're just going to go around treating us the way that we're going to be treated forever, especially when we started to awaken? Especially when these pesky Negroes started to wake up, started to read, started to use analysis, started to do research, started to look at things and have a discerning eye, started to get historical information that was locked away in Europe. Because why? Because we're on a island, technically speaking. We're so far away from the quote unquote supercontinent, have you will. If we can keep you from the land, if we can keep you from the people, if we can keep you from that understanding, because even the people will not disclose everything to them. Hence, that's why they are making sure that they have mission trips over to West Africa to understand all of the laws, the traditions, the customs. That's how a forgery works. That's how a bamboozle works. You gotta get a little bit from the source to keep the lie going. And then when you explain that to people, well, why did they go on over to Africa to get knowledge and understanding of something that they supposedly had all this knowledge and understanding for, but they got to go to Africa for the source? So now they got to go to Africa for the source. And now you have folks within this community. You don't need to go to Africa. Why is that? Because they still want to cut you off from the source. It's just a person in melanin skin doing the task that his taskmaster needs him to do. Because they both have to survive. That's why you have Daniel chapter 12. I've been telling you, some to eternal life and some to eternal shame and contempt. Because why? Because really, you have a lot of people here that hate us. You, me, everyone. And that's the contempt. No, they don't have to say it out loud. But the Most High knows a person's heart. And his heart will sooner or later become exposed. This is the time that we are living in. We're living in these times. So when that person is now calling ICE, I would kindly let that person know that you are calling into ICE. They are they're recording your conversations, because anything you do with the government is recorded, and they tell you that for what? For training purposes and anything that may be used in other engagements, things of that nature. So no, just because you think that you're making a phone call under the conditions of anonymity, you are not. Oh, and by the way, Peter Thiel and his pals, along with Elon, yeah, they're pushing that information into those big old supercomputers that they're using and that they're creating, over in Texas. For what? For a repository, because they're now analyzing your information. Oh, this is how they sound like. This is their uh their sounds and their sound waves. This is how their sound waves are going on this frequency. This is how they're speaking on this level. They're getting all of the data analyzed. Oh, and by the way, now that they have your cell phone records, because when you place that phone call, yeah, there's some digital things that go on too as you're accessing the boards. There's digital records, even to be able to access your phone, unless you're going to clone your phone, which is also illegal. They will triangulate where you stay, and then guess what they'll do? They'll say that you are a Haitian or some person from an African blacklisted nation or country, and then you'll get picked up illegally. That's how you kill two birds with one stone. But they know that most of our people don't understand the level of sophistication that they operate with. It's literally when you do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It's literally just loving your neighbor as yourself. It's literally all of those commandments that the Most High has given us, all of the word that Yahusha had demonstrated to us in flesh. And guess what? When you do that, you will actually be okay. Because the enemy is looking for that snare. And when he has that snare, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get drugged down. What does the word say? Don't make fun of your enemies when they're being judged, lest what? The wrath of the Most High be calmed on your enemies and turn to you. That's in Proverbs. So for me, nah, I'm not calling ICE. I'm just giving you a little bit of some biblical analysis of why you just leave people alone and let them be judged. Do not be like your brother Esau, that in the time of destruction had also partook. Come on, don't do it. But we've had these tendencies because a lot of our people operate in that spirit. And now, as you well are aware of, that spirit of pride and that spirit of vanity, don't think that is just reserved for Gentiles. Well, the saddest reality, I know Tamara has said, I don't think homie really cares because of how he spoke, plus every ICE call they get paid. Yeah, you get paid, but guess what? What does the US always do? What does the society always do? You think you get paid? You get paid now, and guess what? You'll owe in the future. Oh yeah, you will owe. You will get paid a little bit of mammon that will require your life at the very end. So my man was literally telling me that he was just a modern day Judas. I get 30 pieces of silver every time I call. I'm good. Yeah, it's you can talk to people as much as you want. You can let people know as much as you want. The reality is that if their heart is not for the most high, they're just going to go into destruction. All I pray and all I ask is that you do not follow people into destruction. Don't get on that train with them, because now this is a gravy train of indulging in the flesh, of indulging in the pride and the arrogance. Because why? That's the same thing that brought us into captivity. So now they're going to try their best to have you engage in their actions and then re-yoke yourself to their judgment. What is even the word said about foreigners and strangers? Just saying, understand, Mexico is now a part of BRICS in its observer status, whatever status you want to call it. BRICS is literally on the border. BRICS has made it to the back door. But all while they're saying that, I want to give an article right here. This is one of the things, and I told you this is why I went to Alligator Alcatraz a couple of days ago. because you know when you're at that moment in time where you are in a history defining moment. This is from Yahoo News via the Miami Herald. This is as of Sunday, July 13th. Exclusive. Hundreds at Alligator Alcatraz have no criminal charges. Miami Herald learns. This is from Anna Ceballos, Claire Healy, Shershu Dasgupta, and Ben Weeder. Hundreds of immigrants with no criminal charges in the United States are being held at Alligator Alcatraz, a detention facility state and federal officials have characterized as a place where vicious and deranged psychopaths are set before they get deported. Records obtained by the Miami Herald and Tampa Bay Times. All right, so Tampa Bay Times is doing some good reporting. Shout out to Tampa Bay Times, my local newspaper. Mixed among the detainees and convicted of crimes are more than 250 people who are listed as having only immigration violations but no criminal convictions or pending charges in the United States. The data is based on a list of more than 700 people who are either being held under tents and in chain link cells at Florida's pop-up detention center in the Everglades or appear slated for transfer there. A third of the detainees have criminal convictions. Their charges range from attempted murder to illegal re-entry to traffic violations. Hundreds of others only have pending charges. Records do not disclose the nature of alleged offenses, and reporters have not independently examined each individual's case. I have that in the chat. Understand, what is this that we're looking at? We're looking at literally the 1820s to about the 1850s. Pre-Civil War. This is antebellum. If you run away from the plantation, you are a criminal. And now you literally had that stated from out of Trump's mouth last week that it will be the owner's responsibility. So you better not get off of the farm, or what was previously known as a plantation. Now it's just the farm. What farm do you belong to? What patch do you belong to? This is hard, family. Because it's the, we told y'all, we told them so. Just wait until America can't afford to have y'all here. We told you how this bankruptcy was going. We told you how the proceedings were going. We told you who they were getting rid of. Because why? Because they want to create the examples to have people self deport. I just saw something the other day. Tom Homan, Department of Homeland Security, had even stated that they won't even make it in front of the judge. Because in reality, they don't want to tell you how broken the immigration system is. The immigration system is broken. The immigration lawyers will tell them, just wait until your hearing. Don't get caught. Don't do anything crazy. Just wait until your hearing. Be a law abiding citizen and let them know that your hearing date is this date. And the joke's on them. They don't even get a chance to show up in front of the judge. So now they're creating lawfare against the immigration class, the immigrants. The descendants of those that did the Spanish Inquisition. And they do wear that title proudly. They wear the title that they are Spaniards proudly until they realize that they don't care. They're not of the European ilk. They're not from the Iberian ilk. You can call yourself a Spaniard all you want. But if you're not at a place that is by those Andorran mountains, if you're not living off of the Balearic Sea, you're just a conquered people that's wearing the name of your conquerors. And then you do what your conquerors have done. And now, generations later, they're paying the price. Here we go. I already want to cry. Undocumented parents prepare for the unthinkable, giving up their kids. Jenny Gold. Well, if they have children now in the United States, those children are not going to be. They may leave too. Remember, it's not about legally deporting. They will illegally deport the kids, and then now the family is gone, and you may have quote unquote sons and daughters that have legal status. But are you going to pay for a lawyer for them to get them back into the country? You see all these loopholes? Sonia's son has been anxious lately, crying and asking why their neighbors have been picking him up from preschool instead of his mom. She doesn't want to tell him. At just 4 years old, he's too young to understand the truth. Sonia has lived in the United States without legal status for 25 years, harvesting squash, cilantro, and tomatoes in the fields of Riverside County, but she can no longer risk leaving her house to pick up her child for fear of being detained or deported by federal agents. She has begun preparing for something far worse than a missed pickup, the possibility that the separation could become permanent. Last week, Sonia visited the offices of Todek, a legal center in the Inland Empire, serving immigrants and farm workers to fill out the forms that will allow her sister to take over the care of her 3 American citizen children, ages 4, 7, and 10, in the event that she and her husband are deported. I already want to cry, said Sonia, who requested that her full name not be used to protect her. Since June 6, when the Department of Homeland Security began widespread raids throughout the Los Angeles region, the number of immigrant parents making emergency arrangements for their children's care has skyrocketed. Parents have flooded legal rights organizations in person or on Zoom for help filing out the forms that would designate adult or another adult to take over responsibility of the children, many of whom are citizens if they are detained or deported. I have that article there. I was going to say that because it says an estimated 5.62 million American children have an undocumented household member, and nearly 2 million of them are under the age of 6. Does that not sound like Spanish Inquisition? Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, Notorious Hebrew, but also understand. She says she's only an hour away from the Mexican border. They're acting like they're going to the moon. Yeah, but you also have to understand this. Just because she's an hour away from the Mexican border doesn't mean that the kids will be able to travel. There was a story, I think, in the Boston local news area of people being turned away, even with American passports. Yes, Tamara. Yeah, the man is stuck in Canada. The man is stuck in Canada. So they really do know what it means. And you also have to understand America is now in the midst of a strict isolationist strategy. This is what happens before you go to war. Suppress, suppress, depress. Kill off the economy, suppress the people, and make them on your agenda of fear. So when things do happen, people are so scared that they're just going to listen to a narrative and not question anything. See, when you're living in fear, guess what? You don't have a chance to think about things. When you're living in desperation, you don't have a chance to analyze things. When you're living in constant worry and frustration, See, when you're listening to how the Most High and you're doing what the Most High said to do, to find rest in Him, sometimes that rest, you may just have to sit back and just say, Father, I thank you. And I know it's all going to work out, because the more that I try to do, the worse it is. Has anybody gone through that? I've gone through that many a times. Well, Father, I need to do. Father, I need to do. Father, I gotta. I had to go through that literally yesterday. Going through that actually right now. I need to make a few phone calls. I need to talk to a few people. Can't get a hold of a person I need to talk to. As another meeting on the continent is going on, that's very important. And you know what? I prayed about it and I said, Father, I said, thank you. I'm not going to get worried or get discouraged. I said, what I am going to do, I'm going to sit here and know that you are faithful. Father, I pray that that's not that is not the wrong decision, but I'm going to be faithful. And guess what? When you do that, he'll open up the doors. He'll have people reach on out. That's how the Most High works. Okay, Father, thank you. I just need to be by myself, sit by myself, not worry about this, and go from there. Because when you are dealing with panic, panic folks want to do things and take things in their own hands, and they just cause more chaos and confusion. The more people panic, the more it's chaos, the more it's confusion. So understand, this is what's happening on that physical level. Because now you're starting to see the spiritual panic turn into the physical panic. And they're physically panicking. The Most High doesn't want us to panic. He wants us to trust Him. He wants us to praise and glorify Him. For what? For the victory. Because He's already won the victory. He already won the battle. So even when I was coming on here and thinking about some things, well, should I reach out? Should I do this? He's already won the victory. You just have to wait and walk and move and declare. You know, that's one of the hardest things for us, is just to literally wait and walk and move. The hardest thing for us is to literally declare victory. Well, it's just gonna, it's. I almost caught myself in that today. Well, Father, if I'm just praying that this thing goes through, and just praying and just, Father. And I said, no, thank you, Father. It's going to go through. And I'm not going to panic and be drawn into someone else's panic, because you got this. And I know that you got it. the doors are open. And I don't care what type of flesh, what type of thing, what type of. No, Father, you've already given the victory. We have all the tools in place. We have all the things in place. We got all the people in place. The skill sets, the knowledge, the understanding. It's all in place. And so I had to just sit back and just say, thank you, Father. You got everything. Because my personality is that I want to do and do and do and do and do. Well, I gotta do this. I gotta do. I can't finish until it's in my hands. The work's not done until I feel something. The work's not accomplished until I see it. Actually, is that what the Most High says? No. He actually says that we do what? We walk by faith and not by sight. The Most High actually says that you lean not on your own understanding. In all things give him praise, right? That's what the word says. So I had to make those declarations because with everything that was going on, it just made no sense. But I know it doesn't make sense. It's not supposed to make sense because it's the way that the Most High works. You don't need to think about what makes sense. You just need to be the servant to say, thank you, Father. Hallelujah. And then you keep moving when the door opens. Because this flesh is a trap. And when you walk and you move and you do in your flesh, guess what? You're not moving in your faith. And guess what your flesh is doing? It's setting you up for your destruction. That's what the Most High gives. It's an ultimatum. Okay, you really going to do that? Well, what does the word say about the stranger? Hey, just because they have unjust laws, just because they have wickedness, do not partake. You know, all those places have been judged during the Civil War. A lot of Americans died. What do you think's going to happen here? And we've been saying this. They're setting themselves up for this judgment, and this judgment's going to be so devastating that people are going to say, I cannot believe how devastating that was. If I had only known what this thing was going to look like, I never would have done it. Isn't that always the hindsight is 2020? Hindsight is 2020. I wish I would have known. No, because we are here witnessing what the word is saying, and we're telling them what the word is saying. But guess what they did? They chose to do what? To believe the lie. They chose to walk in darkness. Hey, you want to choose to walk in darkness, then you're going to get judged. That's what you're choosing. And when you get judged, you're going to have to take and drink that cup of wrath, the full portion. Because why? Because all you're doing is saying, I want to eat as much poison as I can. And the woe is to literally try to convince the Most High's people to drink the same poison as you. Oh, that is a woe. I'm a destroyed, depraved mind, so I want everybody else to be a destroyed and depraved mind. Man, what does it say? It's better to be thrown in a lake with a millstone tied around your neck than to lead the Most High's people astray? That's pretty devastating. The reason why day in and day out I come on in here, as well as you have with Tay and Yakoba, Sister Shonda, Pastor Rick, Sister Gates of Holder, and on and on and on. Here's the thing. I already know that day is coming. And that day is quickly approaching. Matter of fact, not only is the day quickly approaching, but you have an ultimatum that's been declared. Quickly approaching. As I had stated, we don't need to know about the times and things of that nature, to be quite honest. Because generally speaking, they're going to tell you in advance. That's what I've always said. They're going to tell you in advance. They're going to let you know. So it's an ultra long article. Guess they try to do that to make sure that people do not share, or who knows. Let me put this up here on the screen. This is from AFP. Trump gives 50 days, or excuse me, Trump gives Russia 50 days to make Ukraine deal. Danny Kemp in Washington with Victoria Lukavenko in Kiev and Florent Vernies in eastern Ukraine. U.S. President Donald Trump told Russia on Monday to end its war in Ukraine within 50 days or face massive new economic sanctions as he laid out plans for infusions of weaponry for Ukraine via NATO. Trump said he was very, very unhappy with Vladimir Putin, underlining his insistence with his patience that his patience had finally snapped with the Russian leader's refusal to end the deadly conflict. We're going to be doing very severe tariffs if we don't have a deal in 50 days. Tariffs at about 100%, Trump said during an Oval Office meeting with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte. The Republican added that he would be, or that they would be, secondary tariffs that target Russia's remaining trade partners, seeking to impede Moscow's ability to survive already sweeping Western sanctions. Here's the thing: the the tariffs don't work, and it's already been proven that. What do? They push the tariffs out again to August 1st, and then they're going to push the tariffs on out again. He's going to be pushing out tariffs for like 2 years. What's going to end up happening, as I stated, and there was a video, I think it was either Times of India or Hindustan Times. It showed the impact on Al Udeid Qatar, Al Udeid Air Force Base in Qatar. It took out a satellite communication, SATCOM building. And SATCOMs are expensive to replace. I'm sure either Northrop Grumman, General Dynamics, Raytheon, whoever owns the contract, was probably very happy. Oh man, we gotta replace that. Oh, that's gonna be at least $300 million. What? That's how government contractors roll. That's how they make their money. So now you have a Patriot missile system. My question is this: was that the hypersonic missile? Was that one? Was it two? Did they just fire one or two hypersonic missiles? Because they did a drone swarm. They did a couple of their conventional weapons. But if they just did a test of just one hypersonic missile, that could be, just in itself, that could be devastating. And the reality is this, which is even more devastating. It took about 3 weeks for them to disclose that. And I believe it took them that long because they probably knew that somebody was getting ready to leak something, or it was already being leaked or shared on social media. So the algorithm was probably saying you gotta get ahead of it now. Which means, technically speaking, that they have a little over 3 weeks to hide things. So it used to be years, it used to be months. Now it's weeks. And then it will start to be potentially days. And then it will be hours. And when you're at that type of loss of information security and you're not able to control the information like that, that becomes very difficult. Everybody has cell phones. Now, the reality is that probably may have been like a contractor, a local, or some other host or third party nation. Believe it or not, overseas, you actually had more third country nationals working on the embassies and military bases than you do Americans or even that host nation. You'd always get people from like Indonesia, Philippines that's working on the base. So that becomes very interesting to see that, look, if people see things and they take pictures, especially on base, they take pictures, especially in passing. They'll even have satellite imagery, at least within U.S. control. They won't even allow for the satellite images to be captured. A lot of European agencies that have quote unquote space agencies or satellite agencies, they actually have to utilize US satellites. That even goes for the French and the British. So let me take a look here. Give me a second. I want to make sure. Because a lot of this. Let me just show this here. So it says satellite pic shows Iran's missile strike on the U.S. run Al Udeid base in Qatar. Likely it hit a communications antenna, left a blackened crater. So here's the before, and then here's the after. Yep. And then they're showing you pictures of on the ground where they're at the comm center. So folks are reporting that. Here are these images here. You could tell somebody was probably not supposed to be showing all this. But it destroyed the satellite dish. This is from Military Observer. Iranian strike destroyed main radar at U.S. Al Udeid base, confirming U.S. lied about no damage. Okay. I have to be amazed at how many people actually think that the U.S. doesn't lie. The U.S. lied. Say it's not so. Yes, this place lies. It's lied about Jeffrey Epstein. It's lying about inflation. It's lying about the economy. But one of the biggest lies. Yeah, it does lie about the weather. Exactly, Renaya. It lies about the weather. Oh my goodness. Man, they just lie so much. They don't even care that they're lying anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't even care. Okay. And we're lying. So what you gonna do? Nothing. I do have to say. Oh, oh, oh my when you talk about lies and exposing the truth, I'm gonna have to say, shout out to Candace Owens on this one. I'll give credit to where credit is due. Shout out to Candace Owens on this one. This, I was waiting on this one. I was waiting on this one. I had to just let it go. Look, they had AFP. Nobody wants to take credit for this article. French First Lady, quote unquote, lady, quote unquote, lady, quote unquote, appeals and gender rumors case lawyer. Am I a man or a woman? Brigitte Macron. Bryson, all right, so we'll just say Bobby. Bob is general neutral. You can Bobbi. That's the female Bobby. Or Bobby. That's the male Bobby. But we don't know about the male or the female. Because nobody knows the pictures we try to see. Especially around the age of 30s. I said, man, they parading around Igor in suit pants, dresses with high heels. It really looks like she must have been a praise and worship leaders at some of these black churches on out here. Oh, she was heavily influenced in becoming the first lady by watching Joanna Man. I'm sorry. I gotta get to the song because it is just so laughable and audacious. The French got fooled again. Those foolish French. And Ibrahim Traore's in Burkina Faso talking about, but y'all don't hear me though. Listen to how this article is carefully curated. Listen to this. The mastery of the deception of words. France's First Lady has taken her case against two women over claims she used to be a man to the highest appeals court after a lower court let them off, her lawyer said Monday. On Thursday, the Paris Appeals Court overturned earlier convictions against the two women for spreading false claims that went viral online that Brigitte Macron, 72, used to be a man, baby. Here it is. Disinformation on Macron's gender has circulated on social media for years. Her 24-year age difference with President Emmanuel Macron has also attracted much comment. Brigitte Macron filed a libel complaint against the two women after they posted a YouTube video in 2021 alleging she had once been a man named Jean-Michel Trogneau, who was actually Brigitte Macron's brother. See how they wrote that? Who was actually. Nobody can tell if this person is alive or dead. Nobody's seen this person in like 40 years. In the video, defendant Amandine Roy, a self-proclaimed spiritual medium, interviewed Natasha Ray, a self-described independent journalist, for 4 hours on her YouTube channel. Ray spoke about the state lie and scam she claimed to have uncovered that Jean-Michel Trogneau had changed gender to become Brigitte and then married the future president. Don't that sound like some maleficent stuff? That sounds like what you see on them Disney movies. This is why they always try to model movies after European stories. That's why I thought that slap that Macron took was a little too heavy-handed by a woman. Hence, this is why I had the thumbnail the way I had it. Y'all knew where I was going. I hope y'all knew where I was going with this one. This is on the news. This is the news. The claim went viral, including among conspiracy theorists in the United States. A lower court in September last year had ordered the two women to pay 8,000 euros, 9,400 in damages to Brigitte Macron, and 5,000 euros to her brother. Where's her brother at? Her brother's her looking like Two-Face up on that. You want to see my brother? Let me change sides. You want to see Brigitte? Let me change sides. Looking like Two-Face. is she wearing? He got the beard within the makeup cut off. And what type of mess is this? That's straight ignorance. That's foolishness. That's foolishness. Hook my brother up too. Who you are your brother? Talk about hook my brother up. Your Honor, Your Honor, your magistrate. Oh, Brigitte Macron's lawyer, Jean Inoshi, told AFP that her brother, too. Goodness, I'm sorry. Can we see your brother? We gotta get him on Zoom. He since he's 72, he got a little bit of dementia. So, we can only get him on the phone. They're gonna be playing AI generated clips. They're gonna be talking to an AI generated clip. Your Honor, as a AI journalist specialist, I can tell you that everything there is fabricated. When you cross-examine, you have to say everything in that cross-examine right there with the script. No ad hocing, no changing. AI can't really get to that yet. That new version was coming out in 6 months. It wasn't out on time for this. Darn it. Darn it. Oh yeah. Candace went in on this. Candace went in. Peekaboo says, isn't it strange that a 34-year-old man thing started messing around with a 14-year-old Emmanuel Macron. Candace Owens exposed the Macrons. Trump called Candace to stop exposing the Macrons. And this is getting exposed. Now everybody's going to be questioning. Oh, that's your wife, huh? Man, let's see that Adam's apple. No. Birth certificates. Now they're trying to talk about altering birth certificates. That's horrible. So her brother too was taking his case against the dismissal of the charges to the highest appeals court, the Court of Cassation. The crazy thing is that wouldn't you just want to? I can't say that, Miss Carolee. I can't say that. Look, I just want to see you and your brother standing hand to hand, shoulder to shoulder. I just want. If I were them, I'd be like, all right, cool. Cool. All right. We'll pay the fines. We'll pay everything. I just want to shake your brother's hand while you next to your brother. Your Honor, this can all be cleared up with just a handshake. And no, you and your brother cannot be inhabiting the same person. I wish this was just a prank story, but this is real. And yeah, you want to see some DNA tests that show, because you know you can see the male, you can see all the male DNA patterns. We'll see your DNA. We'll compare it to your brother's DNA. How about that? Simple, right? No, because they'll kill off the people that do the test. You already know how that goes. Tamara said, Medea and Tyler Perry be in the same room. Yes, but that's on the movies. Oh my goodness. The reality is that this isn't a movie. This is the most messed up movie I've ever seen. It's called Real Life. My goodness. That's why they didn't really want to put their names right there. Because, you know, they didn't want to get an accidental death. A lot of people had actually died. They died, deleted, expired, perished. To cover up the lies of the wicked. You want to be truthful? You want to be forthcoming? That's how the wicked are. The wicked are no joke. No, they ain't got no kids. They ain't got. Do a DNA test on them kids. And Amori first. When it comes to the DNA test of your two children, Brigitte, you are not the mother. Oh! Mm. I don't know. Something can be argued or questioned on some other things. I don't know. Just saying. But you have to have every distraction on out there under the sun. You have to. I'll go ahead here. And I'll copy you all on. I'll share that. I'm not going to hang it, but I'll share it. I'm putting the link out there. So we discuss things. We have literally less than an hour. But boy, oh boy, this is going to be an era of confusion. This is the era of the lies, but this is the ultimatum. The ultimatum is this: are you going to serve the lie, or are you going to live in truth? I don't think that lie can withstand the truth any longer. That's my personal opinion. You say him, her, and her, or she, her and the brother, supposedly. They, them, and the brother. They're gonna pull a Dave Chappelle skit. Y'all want to see my face? But see, you have to understand, you have to do these type of thought exercises to the masses just to make sure that you're still dealing with people's ignorance. That can't happen. That could never happen. The thought exercises are basically compliance. Are you going to comply with this level of wickedness? Are you going to say anything with this level of wickedness? The more outlandish, the more crazy. Not only do you have that going on, you also have the whole Epstein thing. We covered that. But why is all this going on? Why all the crazy all at once? Because it's simple. To have you in the greatest distraction three-ring circus that the world has ever seen. This has to be a greater distraction piece than what you had in Rome. I have this article in the chat. Russia warns of nuclear Armageddon after Trump's latest Ukraine move. WW3 tension has spiked as Vladimir Putin is said to be giving detailed thought to using nukes in Ukraine after Donald Trump's latest move. Is said. The question in my mind is, why do you think it would be just limited to Ukraine? That's what I don't get. If you now have a hypersonic intercontinental ballistic missile, and you're going to use the ICBM, and that ICBM can literally make it from Moscow to the United States in less than 20 minutes. Why would it just be in Ukraine? What, to test it? So this article was by Will Stewart. Today, July 15th, it was updated at 7:42 Eastern Standard Time. Donald Trump was today warned by Moscow I'm sorry, I'm a stickler because you could tell this English is not the way we speak English. I would have put today Donald Trump was warned by Moscow, not Donald Trump was today. That's crappy grammar. Anyway, sorry. Donald Trump was today warned by Moscow that he is pushing Russia towards nuclear war with his new go-ahead for arms to Ukraine and the threat of punitive sanctions. State TV propagandist and war pundit Alexander Sladkov said, Trump is trying to scare us with missiles, but this is difficult to do. Trump should be scared. Everyone is trying to push us to turn Kiev and Lviv into Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And even if they do that, do you think that that's going to stop the U.S.? That would actually embolden the U.S. The Ukrainian leadership is calling for new missiles to strike Russian territory. Is taking the most active part in this. It came as a chilling map revealed the 10 safest countries to flee to in a nuclear World War III. The new Trump deal greenlights a supply of possible $10 billion worth of defensive and offensive missiles and other arms to be paid by U.S. U.S. allies in Europe along with Canada. So, even though it's a proxy war, it's still a war. I love how they always tell on themselves prophetically. Let me continue this. To be paid for by U.S. allies in Europe along with Canada, as well as the threat of sledgehammer sanctions. if Putin refuses to negotiate in 50 days. What do they say about the hammer of the whole earth? The hammer of the whole earth being what? Cut asunder? Slackcloth declared, imagine our country under attack by American cruise missiles like Yugoslavia, Iraq, etc., etc. I'm sure that the YARS should go in response. The YARS is their intercontinental ballistic missile. I have that article in there. So while folks are seeing these ultimatums come through and shaping and taking shape, all of these distractions is quite simply because they're literally talking about nuclear war. Now, I don't know if Putin is a fan of gangster movies, particularly in LA. But I don't know if, as Master P would say, if Trump is about it, or excuse me, if Putin's about it. If Putin said, okay, don't talk about it, be about it. And gave him the Russian version of their N word. He said he got a nuclear 9 up in his waist. Don't make me push that button. You got heat? Oh, I'm gonna tell you about heat. Oh, I got the heat for you. Oh, we cooking now. I'm just saying that was the ultimatum. It's up to Putin. It's up to Putin. I think he's going to make the right choice because it's very, very bad. I'm very, very unhappy. It's not good. Yeah, we discussed. We had a phone call, as you know, a couple weeks ago. It was about an hour, and I'm not happy. He's done a lot of things in Ukraine, and I'm just not happy about. He's not happy because why? Because Putin done took all the landmines, the land deals to do the minerals and the resources that Trump had signed with Zelensky. He's controlling all those territories, and he's gaining more and more control every single day. Why would you ever have a ceasefire or any type of negotiations when you are winning? Come on, Donald, that's part of the deal. Because why? Then you lose your leverage. So now they're in desperation mode because they've lost the leverage. And for me to see articles like this reported by the Express at UK or wherever this is, The Express US. State TV propagandist Alexander Sladkov. This wasn't said by, obviously, Putin. But then you have the articles and the highlights of, well, Putin's floating nuclear. Well, Putin's floating. Is he really? Or is that the story? Because why? Because when you've lost your position, you're going to have to make up stories. So then when you shoot off the nuclear weapon, so when the West shoots off the nuclear weapon, when the U.S. shoots off the nuclear weapon, now people will have some sort of storyline. Well, we did it because Putin was getting ready to do it. Do you see how that goes? With the ultimatum. Here's the thing. Russia ain't got to do anything with the United States. Okay, send all the weapons you want. Because at the end of the day, all that's going to do is economically bleed Europe. And as that goes, you're now seeing a lot of things happening. Let me just put this on out there. This may be a little dated, but it says blackouts in Paris due to heat, they say. This is as of last week. And then folks are commenting about the heat wave that was experienced last week. Stories of blackouts lasting 10 or tens of minutes. Their grid can't cut it. It's not that the grid can't cut it. They don't have the fuel source from Africa. Exactly. They're not getting the African uranium. Miss Carolee, yep. Brother Gar says it's going to be hard without Niger's uranium. And trust me, those blackouts aren't just happening in Europe. You know, those blackouts are also happening here in the United States. Europe isn't the only one under blackout. No, not at all. So, yes, family, we are seeing the threats. And I told you, when you start to get so used to the threats, you know, that actually becomes very dangerous. That when you get so used to all this and then you become complacent, that's the danger. But guess what we've had for these last now 3.5 years? Just about coming up on 3.5 years. We've had the idea of the threats. And because we've had so many threats here, threats there, so many flare ups here, so many flare ups there, guess what? Now people are becoming desensitized. Desensitization is a problem. And now that you have desensitization, really in most Americans, what does it say? The love of many shall what? Wax cold? Man, it's evil. It's evil and wickedness that is now running amok. That's what the enemy wants to do. He wants to have people so debased, so inhumane that they become inhuman. They become beasts. And when you have a people that is going and doing their own heart's desire and content and everything else, they become beasts. Do you not think these other principalities are like going in front of the courts also and asking the Most High, okay, can we do our thing now? Their sins are before you. Can we get let loose to do our thing? You know, when you do your thing, you know, my children are going to be coming up out of captivity. So you can do your thing, but you're going to be very diminished in your little hour of power. These are the war. This is a spiritual war in the heavens. When we tell you about, you know, spiritual warfare, that's what they're dealing with. It's spiritual warfare. Their principalities are itching to take over. They're lowercase g's. That's why we read Second Esdras, chapter 15. You see what Asia is doing and trying to do. They want to be just like Babylon. They want to have the dainties of Babylon. But it's only going to last for a little bit. It's only going to last for an hour. Oh, we got all the resources and minerals in Africa. No, you don't. We're back. We got all the contracts and everything else taken care of. No, you don't. We're back home. Anything you did was null and void. We'll renegotiate as we review everything that had been signed. They're scared of that happening because it is happening. Right in front of their faces, it's happening. You know, the reality is that their distraction is actually our blessing. So let Trump keep distracting all Trump wants to distract. Their distraction is actually our blessing. So, family, don't be discouraged. Don't be dismayed. Please don't. We have the Most High fighting our battles. And he's really doing an awesome job getting those battles won on our behalf, where the battle is literally already won. It may not feel like we've won it just yet. We may not see the result just yet. But the Most High has already won our battle. All we have to do is step through in the confidence and the assurance that our Elohim will never fail. Their mammon is actually failing them. And because they're now seeing these failures, it's a horrible thing for them to see. We would have healed Babylon, but she refused. She refused. Absolutely refused to be healed. So now here we are in this time. The Most High is really setting things up for us. So please understand how blessed we are to be here. For those that have not already signed up, please do so. Please sign up for the constitutional crisis considerations. I think I'm saying that wrong. Sorry, I think I'm saying that wrong. Let me make sure I say it the correct way. Oh boy, this thing is. This event takes place July 20th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is the critical constitutional considerations analyzing the birthright citizenship controversy. Sign up now. It is a free event. It is a free event. For those that are wanting to support Sister Shar's efforts, there's an ask of a love offering of $10. For those that are not able to, that's fine. It's still free. Tell your family, tell your friends, tell whomever. Sign up now, today. NeoDiplomacy, which I'll be needing to do here in the next couple minutes. You can sign up for neodiplomacy.com so you can understand how to navigate this world that is changing. And let me tell you, being able to navigate this world through relationships is something that AI cannot do. So we have the best position. And we're doing that very well on the continent and here in the African diaspora. Learn the basics, or you can sign up to be a certified NeoDiplomatic advisor. Because, family, the opportunities are here. But the laborers are few. So sign up today to get trained, or sign up today to take a look and understand what NeoDiplomacy is at neodiplomacy.com. Also, again, family, thank you for your prayers and your support. They do go a long way. Without your support, well, I know the Most High would provide. But I thank you all, family, for supporting this channel. It really does mean a lot. It does mean a lot, especially when you get taken off of live streams, when you get threatened. Those aren't the only messages that I have from YouTube. I get threatened with copyright strike violations and other craziness. They're gunning for this channel. So what it is your support actually makes YouTube mad. It really does. Especially if you're supporting via Cash App, PayPal, or Zelle. They don't want our platforms here. Especially at this time, especially at a time where folks are beginning to find out that they done messed up. There's no hindsight as 2020 with the Most High. No, you have people that are going to talk to you and let you know what the deal is. And then when you don't do the deal and you don't prepare and you don't obey the Most High's word, that's not on me. That's not on any of us. I'm going to be one of those ones weeping, leaving out of Babylon, weeping out of captivity. I'm going to be in the wilderness weeping. And I'm going to be saying for 5 years, 5 years our people didn't get this. Five years ago marks the date. I distinctly remember this date. This was one of the first videos that I had uploaded. And I uploaded it when I was in the barracks of Fort Bragg, Camp Liberty, back to Fort Bragg. I had already decided I was going to do what the Most High was telling me to do. I didn't know what else I was going to do next. I was trying to line up jobs and things of that nature as I was coming off of active duty. I was getting my paperwork together as I was getting ready to, or putting in my paperwork to retire. They kept asking me, Captain Copeland, are you sure you want to leave active duty? Captain Copeland, are you sure you want to retire? And I said, yes, I'm sure. We go through the comforts of this life. And then there is a time where you're going to have to choose. For 5 years, that was a hard choice. Give me a second, family. Needless to say, I got to go because I got to do some neo-diplomacy work. With that, you all be blessed. Most High willing, I'll see you all tomorrow. And with that, I will open up the panel. All right, family. With that, shalom, salama, siemi, shalom, peace and blessings, Yasharel.